Hey guys, my name is Asian Psycho, and we're going to be kicking off the 27th chapter of the Exploring the Arsenal series with me, Asian Psycho, aka Toast98, with one of the most controversial and definitely by far one of the most popular weapons in this game, called the G36E. If you guys have not used this or heard this weapon before, then you have not clearly you have not been playing Common Arms for a very long time, and as this is one of the most popular weapons, like I just said, in the entire game because of its sheer reliability and its overall very good combination of statistics. It's not the best, but it's pretty much considered by many one of the best out there, and there are certain mechanics that do buff its performance as such. Anyways, let's get started on the highly anticipated G36E review. Now a little bit of background information on the G36E. This is a German-made weapon developed and manufactured by H&K, Heckler & Koch. I've been getting lots of comments about how Common Arms, most of the weapons in Common Arms are, or like a vast, not a majority, but a vast plurality of them are German made, and that is quite true. German gun manufacturers are indeed one amongst the best in the world, and I am a huge fan of German made guns. Thumbs up. And yeah, the G36E is developed by H&K, and is in terms of Common Arms though, it's unlocked at the rank of Sergeant, and it costs 950 GP a day. And if you think about it, the scope, it's 950 GP a day because it's 800 GP for the actual gun itself, and 150 GP for the additional scope that it comes with. And just as a little bit of trivia, the G36E is the first GP weapon that you can unlock that has an integrated scope that's not a sniper rifle, obviously. And this is quite unique, and it's one of the reasons why it is so popular. So let's get into the statistics of the G36E. The G36E is I classify it as a heavy-hitting and kind of slow-rated fire-ish assault rifle, similar to the AK-47. The damage on the G36E is a solid 45, so you're going to be hitting lots of 3-shot kills. This is one of the major reasons why the G36E is so popular, because it just has its sheer damage is very, very great, and thus its overall DPS time is either very, very quick or very, very slow. But as long as you can get those first shots in, which I'll discuss later, then you should take down people very, very quickly. So damage is very, very good. Portability is where it kind of lacks. The G36E is not a very fast assault rifle by any means. It has only a 57 portability, so I mean, you can still run around with it very well. It's just that you're not going to be able to outrun people, SMG users and shotgun users, or anyone using a weapon or carrying something that's obviously has higher than 57 portability. Rate of fire is the same as the AK-47 at 68 rate of fire. So like I said, the G36E is a heavy damage but low rate of fire-ish assault rifle. So keep that in mind. The accuracy on the G36E, just like the AK-47, is one of the most accurate amongst assault rifles in Common Arms. At 90 accuracy, this is pretty much as accurate as your L96A1 sniper rifle. In fact, at extreme long ranges, you might as well bust out the G36E in order to take down people at extremely long range, because as you guys know, the L96A1 sniper rifle is notorious for its terrible accuracy over range, and especially trying to pick off targets who have very good cover, like maybe say only like a part of their body is showing, like the top of their head, or like maybe a itty bitty part of their shoulder, like where the not the G36, but where the L96A1 lacks in that department. The G36E can potentially take out those kinds of targets. So a good combination that I know lots of people may use is the G36E and the L96A1 sniper rifle, because conveniently they're both unlocked at the same rank, both at Sergeant. So a sniper rifle for one-shot capabilities at a medium to long ranges, and G36E for up close or really, really far range kind of engagements. And that combination is surprisingly effective. And I've when I first began Common Arms, I did indeed used to use that combination of G36 and L96A1 sniper rifle. Recoil wise is on the heavier side of things at 68. It is not as heavy as the AK-47 though. The AK-47 had 70 recoil. The G36E however has a 68 recoil, but you'll find that the G36E does have heavy recoil overall, but we're going to get into that in just a second here. So recoil kickback. The recoil kickback I'd like to break up into two parts. First of all, it's hipfire recoil kickback. The hipfire recoil kickback isn't that bad, surprisingly enough. But if you keep holding it down, then the kickback will eventually accumulate to a point where it will wobble around pretty greatly on your screen, on your HUD, whatever you want to call it. And in terms of in-scope recoil, here I'd like to discuss the in-scope recoil a little bit about the G36E. One of the main reasons why the G36E is so damn popular is because of the fact that its Tapfire ability is top-notch. You probably can't find a better gun with a better Tapfire ability than the G36E. It's just so good that it's very comfortable to get used to with some practice, that is. I mean, it's not like any noob can pick it up and just start tap firing right away with it and go MLG Pro status, but if you do put in the time to practice tap firing with the G36E, you can definitely take people out very, very quickly at middle range and long range. The way you do this is, as you guys, I'm assuming most of you guys do know how to tap fire. If you guys do not know how to tap fire, which is kind of sad to begin with, all you need to do is just take a scoped weapon and aim down in sight, and then just tap as fast as you can, as long as your scope just goes straight up and down. That's tap fire ability. That's your tap fire ability for that gun. The G36E has a very, very tolerable tap fire ability, kind of range-ish, for lack of a better term. Its shots go straight up and down until you hit like a certain rate of fire, until which it starts hitting upwards diagonally. But for most of the time, it's going to go straight back to the place where you last shot went. No matter where the scope goes, as long as you give it enough time to settle for the recoil to settle down, it'll always go back to the same position no matter what. No matter which way the scope goes, like straight up or straight up and diagonal occasionally, as long as you give it enough time to have the recoil settle back until it's ready to fire in its original position again, you have no problem sending all your shots downrange in exactly the same spot. And with the G36E especially, you can do this very, very quickly, which is, once again, one of the main reasons why the G36E is so popular, because its tap fire ability is just out of this world. Now, moving on to the recoil controlability. Actually, we completely skipped the recoil spread. Whoops. The recoil spread on the G36E is very, very big. It's similar to the AK-47, where it's bigger. It's very, very accurate if you're standing still or walking, or actually walking will negate that. What is it? Either standing still or crouching down. It's very, very accurate. It's pinpoint accurate. But when you start moving around, like when you walk around, move around, not walk, but run around and sprint around, then the recoil spreads out as much as the AK-47. And this is characteristic amongst heavy hitting but slow rate of fire assault rifles. The AK-47 has this. The G36E has it. You can see it. It's very apparent. So the recoil spread is pretty big. You might want to be careful of it, especially if you're hip firing and spraying. It can get very, very big, and trying to hit targets with full auto at middle range is going to be quite a challenge, as you'll see in this gameplay later on in this video. So make sure you burst fire at middle range, even though I probably don't do it myself. Burst firing is the way to go at middle range, unless you know for a fact that you can just spray and take them down very easily. Moving on to the recoil controllability. The controllability ties in with both the kickback and the spread. Controllability wise, in scope, it's very easy. All you need to do is just practice a little bit and you got that down. But if you are hip fire and spraying like a mofo, then the controllability on G36E is very, very difficult, because the center speed isn't at all great. In fact, it's pretty slow in my opinion, and waiting for the center speed to go back to its original position in the middle of a gunfight is not ideal, because it's just gonna take too long, and people will be able to take you out before your gun has a chance to have its spread center back to where to its original spread again. So controllability wise, it's kind of mixed. You have to know when to control it, when not to control it as much. So Tapfire ability, we've already explained that in the Recoil Kickback section. Sprint Drawback, it's same as the other assault rifles, I believe. There's nothing too special about it. Let's see. Draw speed is also average, moderate, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing too special about it. Center speed, like I've just mentioned before, center speed is not the greatest. In fact, it's on the slower side of things, just like the AK-47. So you might want to be careful running out to those close quarters combat situations. You might want to bring it back up like a submachine gun or like a really reliable pistol. Moving on to the reload speed. The reload speed, surprisingly enough, without an extended mag or like just bare 30-round magazine, it's actually pretty quick. But once you put an extended mag 1 on it, you can definitely feel that the reload speed is slowed down quite a bit. And because of that, I'm gonna say that the G36E's rate of fire, or not the rate of fire, the reload speed rather, is on the slower side of things, because I usually rock the extended mag 1 or 2 on my G36Es. Rarely do I use the G36E by itself. I usually rock the extended mag 1. So because I always use it, the reload speed has always been on the slower side of things. It's not terribly slow like the XK8. God, that thing is reloads so slowly. But the G36E does have a pretty slow reload speed, so you might want to be careful about that. Moving on to the fire modes, it only comes with one fire mode, and that's fully automatic only. Moving on to its luck. Now, here's the weird thing about the G36E. It can be either the luckiest gun in the world for you, or it can be the just god-awful luck for you. And in my experience anyway, the G36E has not been so great in terms of luck. I've seen luckier assault rifles, and yeah, for me personally, coming from me, I don't recommend you rely on the G36E's luck. Not that I want you to do so anyway, because I have something against basing your skill off luck. But I mean, the G36E just hip firing you're probably not going to net too many headshots. However, Tapfire is kind of wonky. Alright, sorry for that brief interruption. Anyways, moving on to the attacks at hand. The Tapfire ability while in scope can really get you a lot of headshots if you just Tapfire crazily with it. It's not gonna work all the time, but it can get you some really weird headshots if you Tapfire it in a way that you don't normally do. So, kind of a random fact there. Moving on to the ammo capacity, there's nothing too special there. 30 rounds in magazines and 90 in reserves, just standard as always. Let's see, key physical characteristics. So the G36E is actually pretty long in terms of overall length. The barrel is actually pretty long, and it's got a foldable stock, and it's got that in-scope recoil. Sorry about that VBOX side, turn off the VBOX later on. But he saved our lives, so, I mean, anyways, it's got a very metallic feel to it, and the G36E's body frame is pretty unique. And if you see that in the kill feed, it's one of the most common things on the kill feed anyway. Every single game, someone's bound to use it, and yeah, you'll get used to the picture of the G36E soon enough, if you haven't done so already. That is. Muzzle noise on the G36E is a very. It sounds like someone's knocking on a door for whatever reason. That's always how I've portrayed it anyway. And for a time being, I don't know why, but when I first started playing this game, I always confused the M16 muzzle noise to the G36E muzzle noise. There was a time when I couldn't even differentiate between the two, so I'd rush into battles, and when I thought people were using the crappy old M16, I'd find out the hard way that they were actually using G36. I was like, what the fuck? Anyways. And sorry about that mic thing. The mic's a little bit too close to my mouth. Anyways, so that's his muzzle noise. Attachment options, because it's already got the integrated scope, you don't really need to put another scope on it. So silencers or magazine modifications, I don't really recommend putting a silencer on it, but I've seen people use it to great effect, so I don't know. You guys can try out the silencer with the G36. Fire team only or fire team worthy? Yeah, it's most assault rifles are pretty fire team worthy, and G36E has got that good DPS time, and it's got that in scope. It's got that integrated sniper scope, so you can pick off zombie headshots from very far away, and because of very good damage, it's quite useful. Quarantine worthy, not so much, because it's got very bad portability, even for an assault rifle. I mean, most other assault rifles are lighter than the G36E anyway, and you might as well bring like a submachine or something, or like a better machine gun in place of the G36E for quarantine. Frank personal opinions. The G36E is by far one of the most reliable weapons in the game. I know I'm gonna get some hate for that, but there's no going around it. Okay, so here's the thing. The G36E is supposedly split up into two different camps in combat arms. One that loves the G36E and that says that the G36E is the best gun that combat arms has ever released. And mind you, the G36E is one of the classic weapons of combat arms. It's been around since open beta, so it's always been here. People have always used it, and let's see, and the other side, people just absolutely hate it because they think it's overpowered. The combination of statistics are just too perfect, and yada yada yada. But the fact of the matter is that the G36E, no matter how you look at it, like I keep saying, it's going to be one of the most popular guns in combat arms, just because of the fact that it's just so reliable. It's overall, it has more pros than cons, and those pros are very significant enough for people to keep using it day in, day out. And that's why some people have never ever used any other weapon than the G36E. I know a friend of mine who, if you look at his combat record and his profile page on, or the character, what is it? His character profile page on Combat Arms player kind of search system on their website, you'll see that he has nearly 100,000 kills with the G36E alone, and out of like 120,000 total in his account. So yeah, that should be wrapping up the G36E review. It is very good. That's why so many people use it. And yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this very long episode. Next episode, we're going to be going over the very short review on the G36E Valkyrie, which is the NX standard variant of it anyway. And there's not much to talk about there, because I mean it's pretty much the same thing. But anyways, nonetheless, it still deserves a review, and I'll see you guys later.
Start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Round start. Alpha
Round
team
start.
wins.